Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are about 48 hours away from The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom releasing, which does feel like that big generational title for Nintendo to cap off what's been a very successful system for them. And as we've been getting closer to release, the game has leaked out all over the place. It's to the point now where people have beaten it and they've gone on attempting to spoil it all over the internet. But Nintendo has become incredibly aggressive behind the scenes, seemingly as a result of Tears of the Kingdom leaking online. So much so that they appear to be striking first and asking questions later, which has some people concerned even for release day. We're going to talk about that here today. So if you guys enjoy this video, make sure you like it and subscribe to the Spawnwave Plus channel if you're new. Let's take a look at a story that broke yesterday, and this has to do with a person on Twitch, Alana Pierce, who was streaming and talking about The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And it technically goes even beyond this from a couple weeks ago. And what essentially is happening, Nintendo appears to be going around and just striking different Zelda videos, even if they're, I guess, looking at it saying, oh, maybe it's just an immediate strike to the point where she was streaming and the Twitch stream just got pulled down midway through because of a DMCA takedown from Nintendo. The interesting thing about this, though, is what she was looking at during her stream and kind of commenting on and giving her thoughts around what it was. It was Skill Up in his preview for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which was all footage that was sanctioned by Nintendo to be shown. And in fact, Skill Up's video has had no problems, once again, because he attended the preview event and everything was fine in that case. But we know IGN had shared information that it seemed like Nintendo wasn't excited about because they actually struck down IGN's video, which I believe was edited and then put back up, as they talked about a feature that apparently some people have kind of commented on Twitter, like Austin John Plays, and that got DMCA takedown. So people are wondering if you can even say the word or feature, even ability, that was showcased by IGN without having to worry about Nintendo showing up. There have also been some videos that more or less speculated around what they saw in those previews, looking at different things that, you know, the camera may pan around, catch something off in the distance, and a lot of these Zelda channels are, analyzing footage frame by frame just to really speculate on the lore or different parts of the world that we haven't necessarily been privy to through these different previews or even some of the marketing Nintendo's done. And there have been a couple of those channels that have had their videos struck down to the point where after they go through and do the counter to those claims and strikes from Nintendo, the videos go back up a day or two later. In fact, this DMCA takedown from Nintendo that cut that stream off with Lana Pierce, it was back. Well, her stream was back up to the point where she could stream again like an hour and a half later, which tells me that, yes, Nintendo is just going around. If they're not sure, they strike it, and then they go back and look again later after there's an appeal of some kind, which gets into the whole thing around how YouTube and Twitch and all of this operates in the first place, which can be very frustrating for creators who know they're not breaking any kind of NDAs or guidelines or any of that. It's something Nintendo has successfully used in the past for things that they really shouldn't be striking down, especially when it comes to actual journalism that takes place. As an example, Did You Know Gaming, with the whole thing with the Zelda game that got scrapped midway through. They had concept art and other things they've gathered through their own reporting. Nintendo didn't like it. They strike it down. It got appealed. The video went back up because, yes, it was under fair use and the idea of, actual journalism giving us information that we didn't have before. But Nintendo is also very, very active currently when it comes to the emulation scene, trying to cut down the situation with the Switch being emulated on PC because it's been paraded around with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, constantly online. And they have continued to go after that lockpick tool that has been getting more and more updates as a lot of the repositories have been hit. And we're talking about 81 separate instances of this lockpick tool that just allows you to get your product keys from your own Switch to then emulate on your PC. And the part that has people concerned right now is the question of, will Nintendo have this striking stuff sorted out by release date or even the day before release? Because let's face it, most people know that if you change regions and purchase a game digitally on the eShop from Australia, you can play the day before, but that means you've legitimately bought the game and you should have free reign to play it, stream it, release videos on it, any of that kind of thing. Will Nintendo allow that, or will they start striking that content? Even so, would they start striking content that happens on release day because there's an overlap potentially from an automated system that they have to kind of detect these things? It just really shows how frustrated and aggressive Nintendo has become after this leak took place, 2 weeks or so before the game came out. And then the emulation thing, I'm sure just took it to the next level, which, to be honest, is on Nintendo. I mean, they used essentially a stock X1 that was easily exploitable, and while they learned their lesson throughout the generation and worked to repair that, it's a little late when there's like 30 million systems out there that you just need a paperclip to circumvent the security on and do things like dump cartridges that fall off the back of a truck when they're en route to a warehouse or something. But a lot of questions here when it comes to Tears of the Kingdom coverage, and if Nintendo is operating in the right, or if they are really pushing the envelope here when it comes to coverage for a very anticipated game. I am going to find out, though, if they are still active with some of these strikes, because I was planning on getting the game a bit early to visit Australia and check it out and then post up a video, kind of my initial play of the game, an hour or two, because we know you start off in like a sky island, and they essentially go over many of the mechanics as you work through that part. So I thought it'd be interesting to kind of give some of my first impressions as to Ultra Hand and Fuse and all of those things. But let me know what you guys think about this down below, with Nintendo being very active when it comes to these DMCA strikes on even speculation around Tears of the Kingdom. In fact, if you think something like this gets out there from a publication like IGN with certain features, should it be free reign for other people to cover that information without fear of a company like a Nintendo or a Sony or Microsoft or whoever coming in and striking you down? Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.